Sebastian Fundora is all set to take on Keith One Time Thurman on Saturday, March 28th, and defend his WBC Super Welterweight title at the 154-pound division. This is boxing's latest Mutt and Jeff matchup, which will show the 6'7" Fundora in against Thurman, who is clocking in roughly around 5'8" and a half. It's an intriguing matchup based on their sizes alone. Let's talk about this fight, the card, and the fact that it is Amazon Prime pay-per-view. I am not a fan of fight cards that are being made pay-per-view when they are not worth the value of pay-per-view. And such is the case where we're going to see on Saturday, March 28th, Sebastian Fundora against Keith Thurman. The idea that PBC is looking to make this a pay-per-view event is wild. On the night of the fight, to see these two in the ring against one another will find itself to be even more wild, because this is a really weird matchup. Just take a look at this image of these guys at their original press conference before the fight was postponed. This is what Keith Thurman has to look up to on fight night. Sebastian Fundora has this to look down at. Now, Thurman, when he was in his heyday and he was a unified welterweight champion, was definitely a formidable threat. One time had the strength, mobility, punching power, and ring IQ that could put the division on notice when he campaigned as champion at welterweight. He fought pretty darn good fighters. He had chased Floyd Mayweather prior to Mayweather retiring, but he became the heir apparent in battles against the likes of Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, solidified his position. But when Errol Spence Jr. came onto the block, he seemed to have issues. And that began the inactivity, the so-called injuries, and so forth and so on. In the meantime, Sebastian Fundora broke out onto the scene where he came into boxing and was taking on the likes of Daniel Lewis, Nate Gallimore, Habib Ahmed, going back to 2020. He's 28 years of age. And so now, after having collided with the likes of Erickson Lubin, Carlos Ocampo, Brian Mendoza, where he took his first and only loss, he has bounced back. with not only 2 victories over former super welterweight titleist for the WBO sanctioning body, Tim Tszyu, but he had a chance to beat up on Chordell Booker with the first title defense. So Thurman seems like a tall order on paper, but not necessarily, because Thurman's inactivity. And we can't get beyond certain aspects of stats when it comes to Thurman, who's now almost a decade older at 37. If Thurman had been a more active fighter, he could have proven himself and carved out a lane for himself as a man of accomplishments, similar to what Terrence Bud Crawford retired as. In fact, I had thought during the times that their careers were overlapping at welterweight that Thurman was the one who had the inside track to give issues to Terrence Crawford. It was because of his punching power and his mobility and his ring IQ. I keep mentioning Thurman's ring IQ because he is a highly intelligent young man in the sport of boxing. It's just that his determination hasn't always swung in the area of wanting to prove himself against certain fighters. Now he wants us to believe that he's going to take the title away from Fundora, who is entering a prime and has all of the attributes that are Achilles for Thurman. We're talking about this height, 6'7", reach, 80 inches, youth, being 28, entering a prime, and the fact that he is now following his dad's instructions on how to box. You see, Fundora loves to fight on the inside. He will go toe-to-toe with anyone. But his dad had been trying to emphasize the significance of what it is to box at range and distance, using his height and reach, and being able to control the opponent, because the only opportunity that an opponent has is on the inside with him, because pretty much everyone in the division, he carries the advantages of height and reach. After the loss to Mendoza, his turnaround against the likes of Tim Tszyu, the first fight was a bloody affair. It appeared that Fundora suffered a tremendously battered nose that could have been broken or just bled profusely throughout the fight. And Tszyu, from that cut from an errant elbow, unintentional, by Fundora early in their first or second round of their fight, where Tszyu bled all night long. It was a horrendous situation, but it was the first time that Fundora began to use this strategic and tactical advisement from his dad to box at range. And that took him to victory. So when he came back and fought Tszyu in a rematch back in July of 2025, the difference between their first fight and the second fight was about as wide as a country mile. Fundora, a southpaw at that, is now boxing from range and controlling distance. You will pay from the outside. You will pay heavily on the inside. There may be no safe place. when you're in there with the likes of Sebastian because of his extremities. Now, Keith Thurman, whom may have devised a plan to actually take away those advantages for Fundora, because he spoke of mentioning Sebastian being stopped by Brian Mendoza. But sometimes when a fighter earns a title, he can become at least 10% better due to confidence and the understanding that everybody is gunning for you now. So you have to have your head on the swivel and your senses have to be keen. I believe this is what we're seeing from Sebastian right now. And entering a prime, again, Thurman may run into some issues. I find this to be an intriguing matchup because of the Mutt and Jeff scenario. But I also feel that this is one of those situations where Keith Thurman is going to have to take the risks because Sebastian is the titleist. He doesn't have to take the risk. He can stand back and let the fight come to him. A dangerous scenario for Keith Thurman, who in his latter days of boxing, when he has boxed, hasn't shown that aggression that he once shown when we referred to him as one time. I don't know if it was the bout against Josecito Lopez or the Manny Pacquiao fight, but he seemingly is reluctant to go in and stir it to the max. His win over Brock Jarvis in his last fight in March of 2025 in Australia was a situation where Jarvis did not belong in the ring with Thurman. A third round KO, which Thurman hadn't seen the likes of in many a blue moon. In fact, his last KO victory before Jarvis will take you all the way back to Jesus Soto Caras, and that was in December of 2013. He had a stoppage, a retirement by Julio Diaz in the very next fight of April of 2014, but it wasn't like the Caras fight. So one time has found that it's been quite a long time that he's been able to put opponents away. Overall, this fight is nothing more than an undercard match for a major fight card. Being put on Amazon Prime per pay-per-view is really an insult to boxing fans because you shouldn't have to pay pay-per-view prices, nearly $80 for something like this. The undercard is something that you would typically see on Top Rank or old PBC broadcasts, not even Showbox worthy. I want to see quality fights, but do not try to charge me pay-per-view prices for something that is not of that caliber. Once again, this fight, I believe that Fundora is favored, and I do believe that he's going to give One Time all that he can handle. One Time may even get lucky and catch him with a shot and hurt him a little bit, but this is not going to be an easy task because this young man is proven to be someone who's going to be here in boxing for a minute. The fact that his sister is the undisputed flyweight champion, there is something called sibling rivalry, competitive between them. They want to be champions, ruling at the same time, brother and sister in boxing. Keith is barking up the wrong tree at the wrong time, I believe. Well, what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about this matchup. Who do you have, and what would you like to see next? Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.